Hello, friend. I want to tell you about the Mitsubishi Outlander car. The Mitsubishi Outlander of the second generation enjoys great success and recognition of users, but its purchase is quite risky, all because of engines, which are not always as reliable as the whole car. Choosing the right drive is very important. Mitsubishi Outlander II, produced from 2006 to 2012, is a spacious, comfortable SUV with quite good off-road and on-road properties, equipped with powerful engines. It enjoys a good reputation due to its high reliability, and several-year-old copies hold their price well. 3 diesels and 3 dilemmas. Which one to choose for the Mitsubishi Outlander II? If you are looking for a pre-facelift car, which is realistically up to around $7,500, you are left with diesels or a few 2.4 petrol models, usually imported. 2 diesel engines were offered for the facelift, 2.0 DID and 2.2 DID, both borrowed from other companies. The first, with 140 horsepower, is a Volkswagen TDI design, while the second is a PSA HDI engine with 156 horsepower. Which one is better? The question is difficult because we are dealing with a classic dilemma: cheaper and more prone to failure, or more expensive but more reliable. The fact is that the 2.0 TDI PD engine is one of the most defective, failure-prone designs of this type. A lesser-known fact is that most of the defects, cylinder heads, unit injectors, do not concern engines from 2006 to 2007, and even less so those installed in Mitsubishi cars. Practice shows that apart from premature wear of the pump injectors and turbocharger, which are relatively cheap to repair, this engine is not particularly prone to failures. What's more, there is a large group of satisfied users of the Outlander 2.0 DID, and there are very few negative opinions about failures. This engine has good performance and consumes an average of 7 to 8 liters of diesel per 100 horsepower. On average, the 156 horsepower 2.2 DID from France needs a liter more. Its complicated modern design, intake system, balance shafts, piezo injection makes it not only more flexible but also a class better in terms of work culture. As befits an HDI unit, reliability is at a high level, and mileage of around 300 kilometers without serious failures is not surprising. However, there is another side to it. Most cars on the market have already done this kind of mileage, which means that after purchase, potential repair costs can be much higher than in the case of the 2.0 DID engine. This is exactly the same engine that was installed in other French SUV models based on the Mitsubishi design, namely the Citroën Crosser and Peugeot 4007. But it is slightly different than the one installed in other PSA Group cars. And that is good, because here we have 1 turbocharger, not 2, but the power has been reduced from 170 to 156 horsepower. Virtually every repair of a 2.2 engine will be more expensive than a 2.0. This applies to the turbocharging system, injection system, clutch, and other accessory components. The earliest to wear out are the injectors and the dual-mass flywheel, but still later than in the 2.0 DID. In summary, the allegedly faulty Volkswagen engine may be a better choice than the refined PSA design. After 300 kilometers, some repairs have probably been made in the German one. The French one is still waiting for a wave of expenses. I would choose the PSA diesel if both cars had documented fairly low mileage. It is also worth mentioning the gearboxes here. Both engines had manuals, which sometimes wear out the bearings, but the 2.2 also had an automatic. This is a double-clutch Japanese design, which is very expensive to repair. And here, we smoothly move on to the third diesel offered since 2010, minus 2.2 DID MIVEC, manufactured by Mitsubishi. The capacity designation is the same, but the engine is easy to recognize by its actual value of 2,268 cubic centimeters, which in practice is 2.3 liters. The power is also higher because it is a maximum of 177 horsepower and the torque of 380 nanometers is developed in a wider range. The effect? A really fast car. This is the most dynamic version of the Outlander, and at the same time, the most economical. The turbocharger responds instantly and gives solid acceleration. Despite better performance, the Japanese diesel can use an average of 6 to 7 L, 100 kilometers. It is also the most reliable diesel engine in the Outlander II, but potentially the most expensive to repair. Although it has been on the market for quite a long time, it has not been installed in any model of another brand. It is therefore an engine for which there is a lack of replacements, and as we know, Mitsubishi authorized service centers are among the most expensive. The most common failures are the particulate filter and the injection system. Is this the best choice for the Outlander? If we're talking about facelifted cars, up until 2012 you could still buy it with a PSA engine. After that, there was no choice. Basically, in the 2010 to 2012 M-model years, it doesn't really matter which engine you choose. Just over 10% of cars on the market are petrol versions. The choice is therefore very limited. However, these are the ones that can be considered completely safe in terms of drive. Before the facelift and until 2012, a 2.4 MyVec engine with 170 horsepower was offered. From 2010, a 2.0 engine with 147 horsepower entered the range, available only in the front-wheel drive specification. Both designs are armored, provided that you do not install a gas system. You have to use good components, match the system to the engine well, and control the valves, and there will be no problems. Occasionally, there are minor faults that cause fluctuating revolutions. Sometimes, the 2.4 can consume oil. The main complaint about the petrol engines is the only 5-speed manual transmission, which generates a lot of noise at higher speeds. There is also an automatic, but CVT, which significantly worsens performance. It is not a bad design, but it is burdened with the risk of expensive failure. Dual-mass wheels were not used in the petrol engines. The 2.4 engine is quite dynamic, and the 2.0 is more for calm people. When it comes to fuel consumption, the smaller engine averages around 9 to 10 L, 100 kilometers, while the 2.4 needs about 2 L more. Common Mitsubishi Outlander failures and problems. Most often, failures occur in diesels. Common problems with DPF, FAP are a problem for all of them. In manual gearboxes, you have to reckon with the wear of the dual-mass flywheel. Users of petrol engines have more peace of mind. However, all of them are affected by chassis corrosion, in some cases quite advanced, so much so that it is difficult to unscrew suspension elements. It is quite durable, but there are some minor issues, such as the stabilizer bushings and links, or the upper McPherson strut mounts. There is a solid multi-link axle at the rear. The entire suspension is not expensive to service, and the electric power steering is durable. The same goes for the brake system. However, repairs to the drive system can be expensive. If you choose the 4WD version, carefully inspect the rear differential for leaks. It is also worth having a service center check the play on the drive shaft. The electromagnetic clutch connecting the rear axle drive rarely breaks down, but can overheat during intensive use. Fortunately, they have a fuse that turns them off when there is a risk of failure. Is it worth buying a Mitsubishi Outlander II? Its spacious interior, huge trunk, 774 liters in the 5-seater version, and high travel comfort are, in my opinion, its greatest advantages. The quality of the interior and anti-corrosion protection can be assessed negatively. When it comes to choosing an engine, I suggest the 2.0 DID or 2.0 MyVec with a gas installation for those who are economical. For those looking for dynamics, the Japanese diesel 2.2 DID or the 2.4 MyVec petrol. I will answer the question with a definite yes. Thank you for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know of any problems with this car that I haven't mentioned, be sure to write about them in the comments.